Lucifer is Jesus. I
Ooh.
said it. I said it.
Wait a minute. Don't ask what's in my cup.
My name is Kiwanis Jr. L. I'm a Moorish American Muslim. I mean, you got things now. I think it's about 50 years or so. They say California and Miami gonna be underwater.
Well, Louisiana almost there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could believe that.
Yeah, so definitely. They doing
So
a lot of stuff.
About to move to Africa, or they just gonna keep us off?
The only way we get everybody to move to Africa is when the rest of the world start breaking up and the lava and shit start coming out the center. You know what I mean? That's when that's when it's gonna have to move to the one continent that's not breaking up. Yeah. Right?
I got a theory. My theory is that Mother Nature is so tired of us that she about to kick us out. She wants some new creatures to be on.
It ain't us. It ain't us.
She wants some new.
It's the only ones that die from the sun. Ooh. That's really fucking up the planet. If the sun kills you, you're the problem. Period.
Yeah, I can see that too. Well, thank God we got melanin. Thank God for melanin.
You gotta thank God for you, melanin. They have melanin as well. It's just called pheomelanin. Oh. It only produces the pink, pale skin color. They can't get the dark melanin.
It's called melanin.
Yeah, EU melanin. That's how it's. And then pheomelanin is PHAE melanin, right? Pheomelanin, EO, like that. It's like that. You just look it up. You'll see it. Anybody look it up, you'll see it. Melanin, pheomelanin. Some people might say, "Oh, they didn't debunk that." That's not true. It's the same, you know. And it's just like they want us to be the same, but we're not the same. We're of the same species, but we're not the same thing. They get natural bugs on their body like dogs. They get natural fleas and ticks that just form on their skin. They get Lyme disease and all that kind of shit in their skin just naturally. They get diseases that we don't get. You can't be the same if shit happens to you differently. They try to give us shit that's just ours, but we don't. Only thing that fucks us up is the way we eat. We change the way we eat, we don't die. You know, like they tell you, like they tell you all over. If you watch the movie, they'll tell you what they're really doing. You know? I mean, simple things like if you watch Robin Hood with Morgan Freeman and what's his name, right? He tells you he's a Moor in there. Call him a Moor from the very beginning. You see him in there. His name's Azim. He's dealing with Islam. He's got all this technology, and then he even says to them, he says, "Man, how did y'all take the Holy Land when y'all so ignorant?" Right? Y'all have no technology, nothing. Y'all so dumb, but how did you do that? It's called brute force and disease. That's how they beat us, and we beat ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you watch the Avengers End of the World? I mean, what is it called?
Endgame.
Endgame. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
When he did his little finger snap,
and got rid of everybody, it was half of each. I was like,
you know what's crazy is that glove. The actual glove is a representation. That's a good thing too. That's a good one. What movies tell you some things. That glove with those stones in it. There's a set of gloves. There used to be two of them, but they have a glove that they say was, I think it was King James glove. Exact same glove with the same stones in it and everything. You know what I'm saying? So what they do with the movies is they give you entertainment versions of real life, right?
Disney is good for it.
Completely. Yeah, Disney be on some bullshit. Disney racist as hell though.
It be some lessons in there though. You gotta take notes.
It be some lessons. It be a lot of lessons, but it be a lot of pedophile shit. It be a lot of
but back to the Endgame. We go back to the
Endgame. Endgame was good. That was pretty raw, you know. But that's a good concept of population control. Right? If you can snap your fingers and get rid of, if you can align all your chakra energies, is what them stones
That's
You
what you
align that,
mean, the
you
chakra?
become the most powerful. That's your chakras, is them 6 stones. That's your chakras. So, if you align all your chakras, you can do anything. That's basically what they were telling you.
That's
Right?
Avatar. I watched Avatar. That's what I
Avatar.
learned.
Yeah.
I learned from Avatar.
Shoot, they tell you about transferring your consciousness a lot into another shell, but that's life and death anyway. Is your consciousness constantly transforming to another shell? Remember the other day I told you that when you're born, that's your first experience with death. That's why death is not an enemy to man, yet a friend. That's some more lessons from Drew Ali, right? Death is not your enemy; it's a friend to you, right? Because death is transition. That's why they also says that black, according to science, means death. It don't mean that it's just over, or like it's a bad thing. It's a transformation, because you die out of the womb into this physical world, and when you leave this physical world, you go back into the spirit world. That's why nobody ever can come back and tell you what the hell happened.
So do you believe in reincarnation, as in we come back?
I believe you move on to the next round.
Okay.
If you got, I understand if you got something to do here, then you might come back in some way to this physical plane. But most of the times you go to the next plane. You go to the spirit plane. You go back. You go. So the cycle of life is it comes from the thought of God, God's thoughts, into soul man, soul plane. Then you get into spirit man, and then you get into physical man, right? So the reverse, physical man is the death out of the womb. That's your birth into physical man out of the spirit plane, right? After that, when you die, you go back. The cycle starts over again. You go back to being a thought of God, and then he recycles you back through as he thinks. You become.
Okay.
That's the circle of life. It ain't I eat this motherfucker and he eat that motherfucker. The circle of life is you coming back around, because you are life. That's not life. Those are eating habits and shit. That's not the circle. The circle is your transformation as a human entity, right? You go from being nothing into something. That's the only process that builds without any help. No hands, no tools, no nothing. It's just a process that builds something, builds the ultimate house. You, right?
So have you watched Manifest? That's what I'm watching now.
I haven't watched that. I tried to start watching it, but some of them things, man, I just can't get with how the European steals everything and puts his little twist on it.
Yeah, because they're talking about the Egyptian culture, and I think
completely. You can't you can't talk about manifest and talk about anything but our culture. Europeans didn't manifest anything but the fucking patent company. So they stole everybody's ideas. That's all they
created. I think
I
was trying to see it because I went in just trying to like be open to whatever they're talking about, because I heard a lot of talk about it. I didn't really watch it myself, but then I'm starting to see it and I'm like, this goes so much deeper. Like they literally are just touching the surface of the Egyptian culture.
Did you see that robot at the Olympics shooting basketball?
No, I didn't. But when I was in Cali, it was a robot with a camera coming down the street. And I was like, what is this on this sidewalk?
Go. Now you got to go back and watch Terminator. You got to go watch the first Terminator and the first Matrix, right? You watch them.
You got to watch Godzilla because they trying to build Godzilla.
Yeah, they trying to create that shit too. The super being thing. They trying to bring back dinosaurs and shit, but they can't do it. They don't have the technology. They don't have the technology.
But that's the thing that's my love-hate thing. Science could be so like educational, informing. It could
be good and bad.
But on the flip side, when science is in the wrong hands, it becomes power, it becomes control, and it just becomes something that you use to control other people instead of actually just embracing what you're learning from science.
Well, I think it's the other way around. I think it's religion that is used in that way. I think science is used to separate intellect That's how they use science, because you get a bunch of scientists that they do their thesis and their tests, and then they agree and they say, okay, this is this. We agree on that. That's what that is. You understand what I'm saying? That's how they try to control you with, we agreed on it and that's what it is. And if you don't do no physical research, no scientific research, because they say scientific process, right? Everything has to go through the scientific process to be accepted, you know, as a truth. You know what I'm saying? As a valid theory, basically. They never get to a full truth.
But right. I will also say on the flip, like also, usually when science becomes a thing is they're finding the unicorn. And this also is in Manifest. And it was also in that other movie when the lady was immortal or something, or mortal, and she couldn't die. And like they tried to put her in a lab and study her and create some type of superpower to control the world. And that's what I think becomes a problem, is because I'm different. Now you want to just keep on experimenting on me to figure out why I'm different instead of just embracing that I'm different. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, what science is going to do, science is going to create something smarter than the human that takes the human out. That's how science is going to ruin us, right? And that's how science can ruin you. What they've done throughout modern history, right? Ancient and modern history, when the shit was developed, they took in what we call religion, right? They took organized systems and they used it to control people's everyday life, the way you think, where you eat, where you live, how you talk to people, all that. They did that. That's not to say that religion is bad. It's just people, it's so vague, right? It's so vague and it's so personal that if somebody can control it, they can control everybody, good or bad.
And that's where the power dynamic comes in, because everybody want to have that power. It's never just okay, you learn, like, it's not a shared knowledge. It's I got it.
Y'all, you know what it is? It's Viking culture. It's the raiding, taking, pillaging what you want, and then get rid of the people that's there and then replace them with yourself, is what the Vikings was doing, right? So if you watch the show Vikings, it's a great show, love it. You watch that whole show, it'll show you how one, Viking is a way of being. It's what they did. That's what raping, robbing, and pillaging, that's called Viking. Study white people cultures a lot, you know. But when you get closer to when they start establishing themselves, you see what you do is you find the coat of arms for the families. And most of their coat of arms, if it hasn't been changed today, modern, you know, shit, ancient coat of arms, mostly all of them have what they call Moor's head on their fucking coat of arms. You'll have a black man's head. Most of the time you'll have a Canaanite bandana around his head, like a little bandana and shit. And his face be facing to the side, shit like that. They'll have that. Or then you'll have the ones that conquered the Moors and took that bloodline. They'll have heads cut off, bloody heads, bound, you know, they mouths gagged, hands and shit bound, stuff like that. They represent what the fuck they did. When you start looking, when white people wasn't talking to black people, they was telling the truth. And you can see the shit, you know, but nobody's white either. It's just certain people, you know, they created that too. Nobody's black, nobody's a color nowhere. So that's why I say nationality. You got to find a nationality. Once you find John Henry Clark, you know him? Professor John Henrik, Henrik, Clark with an E, right? John Henry Clark said that we are a nation within a nation searching for a nationality, right? He said, once we find our nationality, we will do for ourselves what needs to be done. And he said, why is that? Because we don't know ourselves. So until you know yourself, you can't do right by yourself. You can only do what the system has told you to do. Until you really know who you are, then you can choose how to live in the system that you in.
Now, I do believe we don't know ourselves, and that's getting me back to the chakras that we were talking about. Now, I think this is the simplest way that I learned it was, like I told you before, like the Avatar. He was a little boy who had these powers and things, but he couldn't get to the next level.
About Aang avatar, that avatar.
Yes,
okay.
He couldn't get to the next level. And the man told him it's because of he has blockage somewhere, and the chakras go within the body. So like he was good in some places, but some places, like I believe it was when he got to the head, the crown.
You get his crown chakra together, right?
He couldn't get it together.
So what did he do when Aang got his chakras together? He went into God mode. He went into the. Remember, he became that big ass God.
Yes, and you have to let go.
There you go. Once you line up, you become the true. You truly see the face of God when you align yourself. You really do. You get all the answers you want once you find knowledge of self. Any answer to anything you want comes once you know who you are.
Woo!
All the
everything. We just talked about that full circle. It just went
completely. Yeah,
it just went right in full circle.
Aligning your chakras is very real. You know, it's very real. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's Indian culture, Sanskrit," but you got to understand the first people in the land of India that they call India today. The first people, that land is actually called. Those people are not Indians. They're called Hindus, stuff like that. Hindus and Brahmins, things like that. Indian is the fucking name the Europeans gave. That's the British people gave them that name. But those people, the original people in that land, came out of Africa. So it all comes back to the original man, right? People want to say,
the original man.
Original man is the first people that was on the planet. It don't matter where you want to say they was at. If they was here from one woman, I would say, well, who was her daddy? If it was the first, if everybody go back to one woman, who was her daddy and who was her mama?
Right.
But she didn't just create herself, right? So, you know, the whole mitochondrial Eve thing where they follow the, you know, your mitochondrial
then I
DNA.
heard like Lilith was supposed to be the first woman too. Like we talked about, I know about Lilith.
Go. Yeah, Lilith. Now, see, Lilith. They have Lilith as a demon, right? They classify Lilith as a demon, but the first thing they say about Lilith is she was made from the same. She was made at the same time Adam was made, from the same mud, and she wasn't submissive to Adam, so she bounced.
Wow.
She bounced.
They said, and I've heard like she was the first witch. She was the first demon.
So what she did was when she left to punish her, they was like, well, nah, you gotta goddamn it. Basically, they said you can't just leave and go do what the fuck you want to do. She was like, I'm gonna do it anyway, even if I have to have demon children, right? I'm paraphrasing. So basically, Lilith had like a whole bunch of fucking demon children for Lucifer and hid them. She hid them in hell. They tell you this in the TV show Lucifer. Right? That shit good. That show good to the motherfucker.
Lucifer is crazy.
Yeah, they tell you that and never see.
It's a twist.
The thing about Lucifer is they got us believing that means devil. That means bad. Yes, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Lucifer, the word Lucifer actually means light bringer. His name was actually Lucifer Morning Star.
He was an angel. Yes.
He was the first angel.
He was the first angel.
So basically, Lucifer is Jesus. I said it.
Wait a minute.
This just got interesting. I said it.
This got interesting.
Lucifer and Jesus are the morning star. They call both of them the morning star, son of the morning, both of them.
Both of them.
Jesus is God's son. If he's the most important thing, he had to be the first. He had to be the first angel. He's the most, God even said Lucifer was the most perfect angel. And then he turned around and said Jesus was perfect. Right?
This is
same motherfucker.
This is
it's something there. A lot of people say I'm reaching.
I hear you though. I mean,
it's there. It's not about the feeling. It's not about the feeling you have about Jesus. Love them, but understand the way they present things to you is wrong.
And now, I get even with the Bible, there are so many books that we don't know about that, like the Bible doesn't.
Read the book of Enoch.
I did hear that is a book of Enoch that talks about a lot of these things that we try to omit.
Look, Enoch was a black man, straight up, no lie. They didn't hide it or shit. He was a brother, and he was so cold that he just walked into heaven. He didn't even die. He just walked into heaven.
He didn't even have to.
Right? See, that right there takes it from the physical into the spiritual realm, into your energy realms, right? Like the God being, God walking on water, Jesus walking on water. That's the sun at a certain time in the morning. It walks on water because he was the God, son of God. The God is Ra. They go back to Egypt. The sun is Ra. Son of God was Heru. Same, everything about Heru, but you'll probably understand his name as Horus, right? Everything about Horus, Heru, is the exact same story about Jesus. Born on 25th December, immaculate birth. They call him the Lamb of God. I mean, like everything, right? It's not about the people being physical or not. It's about the concept. It's about the understanding of how to be.
True.
How to be. It ain't whether the shit was physical.
And that's how I see the Bible as well.